attacca adesso e poi uno gli dice andiamo dal minuto, eccetera, eccetera.
Sì, sì, io poi glielo scrivo sempre.
Infatti, perché se no poi tra una cosa e l'altra uno... Ha mandato le slide Carlo. Ah, senti, ma lui lo parla in inglese o no?
Sì, sì, dice che lo parlo, le ha mandate le slide dove?
Calò, cerca una soluzione per sto microfono però.
No, non si sente bene? Allora me lo metto più vicino.
Piano.
Mannaggia. Aspetta che mi avvicino un po'. Guarda che casino che fanno queste piccolette. Adesso?
Benissimo.
Perfetto, perfetto. All right. Lo stavamo dicendo che ha mandato le slide l'amico
Sì.
Carlo. Apri, apri. Io adesso gliela incollo qua. Sì, quello l'ho lasciato in italiano, però. Ok. Io prendo questa, abilità modifica.
Quindi come l'altra volta condividi tutto tu, Calò?
Condivido tutto io, sì, ci semplifichiamo la vita, perché così, capito, non dobbiamo cambiare, ricambiare,
Io
fare.
sì, 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 e io condivido solo il link Mentimeter perché tu condividi poi i risultati.
Esatto.
Ok.
Questo è in italiano. Vabbè, io ci metto solo una slide praticamente. Vabbè. Ok, quindi questo lo salviamo. Bene. Ok. Oh, come on. Ok. pare che ci siamo.
Dimmi tu quando vuoi che io comincio ad ammetterli, eh?
Aspettiamo ancora qualche minuto. Questo lo possiamo chiudere. Ah, ai 55 li facciamo entrare.
Ok. Vado, Carlo, sono
Vai.
55.
Sì, ok.
Eh. Ricorda degli interpreti, eh?
Mhm. Okay, let's close this. Okay. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
English avanedim.
Welcome. We have translation in 4 languages. So if you go on the bottom, you can see translations and choose the language. No? Tenemos las traducciones. Let's wait for some more minutes. Okay. Hi, Veronica. Buenos días, María Teresa.
Buen día, Calógero.
Dice, no puedo inglés.
Hola, buenos días.
Buenos días. ¿Qué se pasa en Bolivia? Let's wait a couple of minutes more. Hopefully this time we have no problem with translations. Okay, this Friday we'll try and start in time so that we don't delay our Fridays. And maybe we have some more time for questions and answers. I see a lot of people is coming in, so let's wait a little bit more. We can give a couple of minutes of extra time for starting. Good afternoon, Joyce. Hi, Mary.
Buenos días.
Buenos días. Buenos días, María Isabel. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos
Buen
días.
día.
Hi, Daisy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Joyce.
Good. Can you hear me today?
Fanny.
Hi, Veronica.
Hello, Carlo.
Hello, Ricardo. Ciao, Francesco. Okay, I think, let's wait for my friend Teresa Simons. Hello, Teresa.
Hello. Sorry.
Hello, my dear friend. How are you?
Good. Very good. Hello,
Hello,
everyone.
Alex. Welcome,
Hi,
Alex.
Teresa.
Hello, Pramila. Okay, I think that we can start and try to keep the time in 1 hour so that all our plan and schedule activities can go on as usual. So hi, everybody. Welcome again to this second Friday for Finance and Administration. The first one was very intense, very spiritual, and now we are starting to get into the more practical issues, more practical topics. And today's topic is exchange rate in multigrant or multicurrency financial management, which is one of the most critical of our daily activity. It's always an area of concerns, headache, negotiations, and sometimes confusion and frustration. So it's not easy today. Today is going to be a little bit hard. Also because many of us have a financial background, but many of us do not have financial background, so it will not be easy to follow all the technical details. We have tried to keep it simple, but still it's a technical issue. So try to hold on. It is important that we are all more or less familiar with some key concepts that could have an impact on our ministries, on our mission. So let's start to see what is the menu for today, the item on the agenda. We have greetings, we are showing the items in agenda and some group agreement that we have shared. Then we have a brief video, which is called the exchange rate challenges. After that, very quickly, we will have a quiz on Mentimeter. Then for 20 minutes, a little bit more time to this topic. We're going to dive into the technical aspects of exchange rate management. Then, as usual, we're going to have a special guest, also this time, an expert in exchange rate. I will tell you more a little bit later. We're going to give a little bit more time, 5 to 10 minutes for questions and answers. Many of you have already shared on the Google form some very important inputs, so maybe we can also start from there. And then some greetings for closing this Friday. So very quickly, I want to start with this reflection. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also, from Matthew. I think this is very important today. Because even if we are talking about financial matters, technical issues, exchange rate gains, exchange rate losses, and other very practical issues, we should never forget where is our treasure. And our treasure is in the mission. So although we are looking into technical and into very practical topics and issues, we will never forget that our treasure is in the mission. So we don't lose never the focus on what is good for the mission. Very quickly, what are the group agreements, the ground rule for today? As usual, it's Friday, so smile, put a smile on your face. We're going to go to the weekend, lightness of heart and minds. Second, try and walk 1 mile in my shoes or in other people's shoes. Put your thinking open in a way that we can understand what the other perspective is. And finally, we are co-creating. Nothing is written on the stone. As long as we contribute, we can shape our global culture, also for financial management. So let's do it together. Don't be shy. You can share on live, you can share on the chat box, or by sending an email to help desk, but please contribute. Okay, so I'm going to show you now this very brief and a little bit funny video that could, let's say, recall some of our exchange rate challenges that we are encountering in our everyday work. Okay. Now let me stop sharing and sharing again. All right. Okay. No. We'll start again. Okay. Have you all seen the video? Have you seen the video? Yes? Wonderful. Okay, so let me start again. What I want to do now is this are situations where we probably have been dealing with. So let's try now and figure out where we failed, where we were in the video. Were we feeling closer to Flora, having headache in calculations, or to David, who was trying to do some kind of alchemy on currency and the 50 is turned into 10? Or maybe it's closer to Jenny, who was getting much less than she was expecting to get, just one apple. Or to Sister Mary, getting much more than she was expecting to get from that exchange. So now, please, Clitia, I don't know if you have already shared. Yes. So Clitia, yes, thank you, Clitia. Clitia has just shared in the chat box a Mentimeter. So please choose, you can choose even one, more than one, where you were in the video, where is the situation you have been feeling more, with closer empathy with these four people. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to share also the, just in time. Okay. Ooh, we already have it. Oh, see what is happening. Jenny, getting much less. We were talking about with the special guest that the very typical situation is that we get less than we were expecting. So this is a very typical situation. I don't want to influence you. See, that's Jenny winning. Some more votes. Also Sister Mary. So you're gaining. But in any case, I see that the situation of Jenny, where she was expecting a lot of goods and material, and she got less. And it's a typical situation that is happening in exchange rate management, that we got less. Interesting. Okay. Ooh. We can really focus on Jenny's situation. We need to build reserves. Okay, if you want to keep voting, I'm going back to the presentation. We are seeing that the very typical situation in exchange rate management is this one, is the third one, where you have funds and you are expecting to get a certain amount of goods or material or salaries, but you get less than what you have planned to get. So this is very important, especially if we keep the treasure in the mission. That means that sometimes we are in shortfall for running our ministries or making the activities that we are supposed to do. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's go diving into the topic of today. And today is, as we said, exchange rate management in multi-grant and multi-currency situation. We have 20 minutes. It's a short time, so we might not be able to explore all the implications because it's quite complex, but we will have a little bit of more time for question and answers, and you can always, as we said, share through email or through chat box or live. Okay, let's set the scene first. Why are we talking about exchange rate? Are we investing? Do we want to gain? No. We want to run our mission. We want to make activities for our beneficiaries, for the vulnerable people. We want to build schools or run schools or shelters or hospitals or other type of ministries that we are running. So what is happening in our situation is that we got donations. We got donations for running the ministries. We got funds. And usually these funds are in US dollars or in euro. The majority of the donation that we get, I would say 99%, are in USD or euros. Let's do not forget, as we said in the last Friday, that everyone to whom much was given, of him much will be required. And that means that with money, with funds, always come a requirement. So we need to comply. The more we get, the more will be asked. So we need to accept this as something that is critical and key for our activity. Now, our role is to turn these resources into ministries, into activities, into resources for the mission. And that is where exchange rate management can become a problem or even an opportunity. So that's where we have to focus in that transition between the money and the activity. Now, I want to tell you this very easy picture. I want to show you this because in my perception, in my opinion, and in my experience, there are 4 key moments and 3 key perspectives which are very relevant in exchange rate management. The 3 key moments are in horizontal: planning, receiving the money, spending the money, and reporting the money. And the 3 key perspectives, point of views that we need to take into account are on the left: the donor's requirements, the external context, which is very important, especially in exchange rate, and our internal management system. So let's see now one by one what are the implications of these 4 key moments and 3 key perspectives. First one, we are planning. We have to run a ministry, so we need to plan how much money do we need for a certain period, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So my advice is always plan the budget using the currency you will use for spending, not USD, not euros, not Canadian dollars, but the currency you will use for spending, because it's the most realistic one at this stage. Secondly, then convert into the currency of the donation. And 99% of the time, it is much better to use the official exchange rate of your country when planning. What is the official exchange rate? Because it's the most robust that you can sell to the donor. I'm planning in the local currency, I'm converting at the official exchange rate. When you do this, nevertheless, you have to take into consideration instability, uncertainty, fluctuations, inflation, in other words, the external context. Because in particular situations, you might be allowed by the donor to use a corrected exchange rate, which might be different from the official exchange rate. if it's not realistic. We all know that there are specific situations of instability where the official exchange rate is not realistic. So we might be allowed to use a corrected exchange rate. Finally, it is very strongly recommended to use a multi-currency accounting software. In other words, a software which is able to convert automatically and to import the exchange rate, the official exchange rate, so that you don't need to do a registration in the exchange rate for every record. So that's very important. Let's go now to receiving. This is another very critical moment. And as you were saying, and you were seeing before, the situation of Jenny was very typical. We were expecting to receive an amount of money and we got much less, or a little bit less than we was expecting. Now, when we receive the funds, it's the time for setting what we call the actual exchange rate, which is different from the official exchange rate of planning. Now, in most cases, you will receive, as we said, USD or Euro, and you have to convert this in local currency. Now, at this point, you might have three scenarios, and you have to be prepared to these three scenarios. Let's go and see them. We have a budget, okay? So we have prepared our budget planning in local currency, all right? Then by using the official exchange rate, we have converted the budget into the donor currency, which might be US dollar. And we get approved. So that's the budget approved that the donor referred to when we run the project and when we report. Now we need to convert the money that we have received, the USD that we have received, into local currency for spending. And 99% of the time, the donor allowed this calculation. The amount received in USD divided the amount changed that you get in the local currency is equal to the actual exchange rate. So that's the exchange rate that you're going to use from now on until the next step, actual exchange rate. I want to make a note here. We all know that, and in the Google form, there were various comments on this, that sometimes we need to change our money into the informal market, in the street, especially where the situation is not very stable. There is a lot of instability, of inflation. I refer to Lebanon, Sri Lanka now. So there is a legal market and an informal market, a formal exchange rate and an informal exchange rate. So remember, we said our treasure is in the mission. So of course we need to respect the law, of course we need to comply, but for the wealth of the mission, it might be reasonable to change at the informal market. It is allowed, but in this case, let's make sure that we are prepared to give accounts why we did it, why we changed in the informal market. Was it more convenient? Yes. How much? Secondly, do we have supporting documents, supporting elements to demonstrate that our choice, our decision to change in the informal market was the best one for the mission? So let's rely on that. Let's be ready to give accounts that our heart is with the mission, our treasure is with the mission, but we should be ready to give accounts, robust justifications. Okay, so we got the USD, we change into the local currency, and we got a certain amount of local currency. we may have three scenarios now. First one, the actual exchange rate is exactly the same as the official exchange rate. In other words, we don't lose, we don't gain. No gain, no lose. So that's the situation, the best situation, because we don't have headache. It's quite simple. We got the same amount that we have planned in local currency. We changed the USD, we got that amount. Okay? That's quite easy. We might have a second scenario where the exchange rate in this case is lower than the official one. So we have a gain. You will see in the bottom that we gain here a little bit of money. In this case, we can do a little bit more of our activities. We can shift between budget line and we can do a little bit more. It is always good to communicate to the donor or to the stakeholders to show that we have been gaining a little bit and to spend that money in the project. Be aware of this. The practice in this case is not to allow accumulation of reserves due to exchange rate gain, but to use that gain in the project by increasing the activities of the project. I don't remember any donor that will allow you to put this 4,600 away for your own business. They will usually they say, that's okay, thank you for sharing. You can use this amount for the project, for the activities, for increasing the activities. Third scenario, the worst, but probably, as we have said with Jenny, the most typical one. The exchange rate is higher than before. And in this case, we have a loss. We are getting less local currency than we are expecting. So this is the typical situation and the worst situation, because we have to make a decision that might be doing a little bit less of our activities or to co-fund, to add other resources that we might have of co-funding for compensating this loss. It's not the best situation. We will see later in the second moment how we can prevent this situation, but that's the way it is. It might happen that we get less local currency and we might be forced to reduce a little bit the activity or to add a little bit of our own funds for closing and running the activities as we have planned. Okay. Let me see do you have any question? I stop a little bit sharing because I understand that a lot of information has been shared so far. If any one of you, before we go ahead, has any question, please share. Okay, or maybe we go ahead because we're going to see. Okay. Follow me now a little bit with attention. We have on the left the planned budget in local currency, 78 and 200. We have the three scenarios. Scenario one, we gain. Scenario one, we have no gain or loss. Scenario two, we have a gain. Scenario four, we lose. Now, there is one very bad enemy of us. No matter the amount of local currency that we have received in scenario 1, 2, or 3, In scenario 1, we got 78 and 200. In scenario 2, we have 82 and 800, more than we have planned. And in the third one, we have 76 and something less than we have planned. But even in the scenario 2, where we have gained, there might be a situation where this very bad enemy, inflation, will allow us to not be able to run all the activities that we have planned. Because with the same amount of local currency, we can do less. Sorry. So let's keep in mind that even if we have no gain or lose, or even if we gain, or even if we lose, there is this bad enemy, inflation, that we have to fight against, that can affect our capacity of buying the resources that we need for our activities. So let's keep it in mind, and we will see a little bit later how to face this. Now, next slide is about how can we prevent losses. We have seen that the situation of Jenny was the worst one and the most typical. We were losing money. What can we do before? This is about risk management. What can we do before? Because it is important that we manage the risks before they happen. Once the event is happened, it's not very much that we can do. So it is better to prevent. There are 4 things that we can do. First of all, constantly monitor the external context and make well-informed decisions. As we said before, when you plan, don't plan without being informed. Monitor a little bit the external context. Rely on some experts, on your finance staff, on someone that could give suggestion on how to plan and make well-informed decisions. Secondly, whenever it's possible, try and build some reserves. I understand that this is not easy, especially for us that we are a non-profit. We have a legal status that sometimes does not allow to build reserves, but whenever possible, put some funds apart. So this is a good practice. Third one, when you prepare a budget, whenever it's possible, add a budget line for contingencies. In other words, for unpredictable events. Not every donor allows this, but some donors that we are managing allow to add 0.5%, 1% of the budget for contingencies, for unpredictable events such as inflation or exchange rate losses. So in this case, you can use that budget line to compensate the loss in the activity. Fourth one is explore with your local bank or with an international bank if there is a way to lock an exchange rate. Now there are, and our special guest today, we will give some input on how this is possible. So before getting the money, we can prevent losses by locking the exchange rate and make sure that the amount that we receive is the same, or we minimize the losses and we'll be able to run the activities as we have planned. Okay, so let's go back to our moment. We have seen the planning, we have seen the receiving. Let's go to the spending now. While we are spending, always record in the accountancy system the expenses in the currency in which they were actually made. So if you are paying by Indian rupees the record should be in Indian rupees, not in USD, not in euros. Or on the contrary, even if you are in India or in Bolivia, where the local currency is the pesos or the rupee, if you pay in US dollar or in euro, record the expense in US dollar and in euro, because it is important that, if possible, if the legal system allow this, you record the expense in the currency where it's made. And then your management system, your accounting software or Excel, if you set it, will be the conversion. When converting in the donor currency, in your multi-currency software or in Excel, use the actual exchange rate. Okay? Let's go to the final one, reporting. This is the most difficult part. And in the Google form, I can see that this is probably one of the most important challenges that we have, because we need to reconcile the figures, the numbers, both on the side of the donor and on the side of our accountancy system. And usually, I'm telling you, they are... Okay.
Please,
okay, can you please unmute? And I was saying, and they might not match. Really, very often, the reconciliation of the numbers on the side of the donor and on the side of the accountancy system do not match. Because for the donor, what matters is that you have spent what they have given at the agreed exchange rate, the exchange rate that you have explained to them and they have accepted. For the accountancy, what matters is that you have spent and accounted at the official exchange rate. And 99% of the country, the accountancy, the official accountancy, should be made at the official exchange rate. Now, these two conversions might bring to difficult reconciliation between the numbers, and that is where the headache is. So let's see the side of reporting to the donor. We have our budget.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a moment. Andrea, please, the interpreter of Spanish. Yes, the mic. Thanks. Now, I think that it works. Sorry, Calogero.
It's okay, no worries, it's okay. Okay, we were saying that this is the budget. This is the budget approved. So for the donor, this is what you need to report. This amount, the amount transferred by the donor is 84,456, approved and to be reported. So let's see again the three scenarios that we have analyzed with a different exchange rate, actual exchange rate, actual with no gain or loss, actual with gain, and actual with loss. So you will see that in the three scenarios, the amount that we report to the donor is always the same. What matters to the donor is that they have given 84,456, and whatever the situation is, you should be reporting 84,456. Okay? What changes for us is the local currency. So why is it not going ahead? Okay. Sorry. We always report what has been donated. What changes is the local currency. In the first case, in blue, we have 78 and 200. In the second case, 82, 800. In the third case, 76 and something. So what changes for us is this. We might have been able to do exactly the same, or a little bit more, or less, or to co-fund. But the amount to be reported to the donor is exactly the same. So let's make sure that we report the amount received. The donor is always happy if you report the amount received. It is different for the accountancy. Reporting for the accountancy is making sure that you're taking into account in your local currency whether you have been gaining or losing. So it might need necessary for you in your local accountancy to record a gain in the scenario 2 of 4,600, and in scenario 3 a loss of 6,000 and something, because this is local currency and you have received and changed in your local currency, and there is an actual exchange rate gain or loss. So you see that there is a little bit of difference to be reconciled. Okay, so this is the picture. Don't worry, don't write anything, because I will share with you the PowerPoint, and also as we have done in the first Friday, I will share with you a recap of our meeting where all this information are in, and you will be able to read it, to compare with your everyday work, because this is a lot of theory, and then doing the things, it might be a little bit different. So it might be necessary that you come back by sending an email and ask clarification, or giving more inputs, or maybe we can correct something which is not very accurate. Okay, now before we go to the question and answers, I don't know if we are more or less in time. So I would like to introduce our today's special guest. I thank very much for being with us, Mr. Carlo Cagnazzi. He is head of foreign exchange at Banca Popolare di Sondrio. Banca Popolare di Sondrio is the bank is a very important bank here in Italy, and it's the bank of the congregation of Our Lady of Charity of the Good Shepherd. Is the principal bank for the most important bank for GSAF. So we are using BPS, and we have really been happy with them in many cases, and they are supporting us also to face the exchange rate fluctuations and market in order to mitigate the risk of gain or losses. So Carlo, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Morning, all.
Good morning, Carlo. Good morning.
Hi. Or good afternoon for some of us. Okay. If you can project my only one slide. Just
yes, I'm sorry, Carlo. When I put the slide in, it has changed a little bit the color.
Okay, no problem.
But not the content, okay?
No problem at all. Okay, the simplest and most used system to cover the exchange risk on the market is the FX forward. Is a derivative contract that set the exchange rate for a single future currency deal. So, for example, if you want to, if you received euro and you have to make your payment in Indian rupees or Mexican pesos or so on, you can, as soon as you have the amount that the donor will pay to you in euro, you can make an FX forward agreement with the bank, with us or with another bank, where you are going to sell the euro and buy INR, for example, on a future date. The price that the bank are showing to you will respect the future rate on the market, and then the bank will add a small commission just to pay their services. This kind of transaction grants you the complete edge in the case that the FX rate worsens. So if, for example, the Indian rupees goes from 89 rupees per euro to 90 or 91 or 92, you will still receive the 89 rupees that you are fixing on the moment that you are signing the contract. The disadvantage is that this kind of transaction does not allow you to take advantage of any improvement of the FX rate. So you will be in the first situation that Calogero showed us before. So when you will receive the exact amount that you have calculated when you have made your plan. To do this kind of operation, it depends from the state where you are doing this FX forward. For example, in Europe, you have some legal obligation, is MiFID, is the market infrastructure regulation that oblige also the bank and also the customer to make some steps in order to be able to do this kind of transaction. But whenever you are doing with a bank, you will receive from the bank all the passes, all the steps that you have to do in order to do this kind of transaction. As I said, you will pay only the small fees that the bank charge on this kind of operation. If you are going to buy foreign currencies, for example, India's or Mexican, you will receive the points that are the difference between the rates of the two currencies. I will not go deep on this kind of calculation. Whenever you are really interested, you can contact me or your bank directly, and for sure we will be happy to explain you all the single detail.
So Carlo,
yep.
Sorry for interrupting you. This means that, in other words, we can lock the exchange rate. We cannot gain, but we will not losing.
Yeah, that's right.
Currency, right? Okay.
Yes. It, for example, we are able to quote Mexican pesos or Moroccanian dinar, or for example, also Chinese yuan, but we are not able for the time being to quote Bolivia, for example, or India, because we do not have any account with Bolivian or Indian bank for the time being. You have to ask maybe to your local bank.
Okay, but this is something that different bank does, no? It's not just...
Yeah. Maybe all the bank in the market does this kind of operation.
Very good, thank you.
The second type of operation that you can do is the flexible forward. Is the same of the forward, so set the exchange rate for a future deals, but not for only one deals, but for a strip of future deal that has to be done within the expiry date. Is the same of the FX forward, so you will fix the exchange rate on which you will exchange your euro or your US dollar in your local currency, but you can do in smallest amount. For example, you are receiving €500,000 and you can do it through the FX forward only in one shot. So you have to change all the €500,000 altogether. With the flexible forward, you can change, for example, 50,000 euro per transaction. So whenever you need your local currency, you can change only the amount that you need. The flexible forward, as the FX forward, grants complete hedge in case of the FX rate goes worse, and does not allow you to take advantage of any improvement of the FX rate.
So again, no gain.
No gain. Is the price that you will get on the flexible is slightly worse than the price that you are getting on the FX forward, because you will not take benefit of the market pips, the market premium on this kind of a transaction, and also is just a bit. It costs a bit more than the FX forward, because you are going to do more transaction and not just one. So each bank has a cost for each transaction. We have to charge on the flexible forward all the costs that we might have on the future. This is used as the FX forward, but the difference is that the FX forward is used when you have a certain date on which you are going to make the exchange. And you use the flexible forward when you do not know when you are going to change the euro or the US dollar amount. When you have a fixed date, you are going to use the FX forward because it's less expensive for the customer. When you do not have any fixed date where you are going to change your capital, you will do a flexible forward because it costs a bit more, but offer you the flexibility to choose the date when you are going to change your money.
Okay, so you will monitor and may decide when to change that amount. Okay.
Yeah, no, you not have to monitor the exchange rate because you have a fixed exchange rate, but you can exchange the money only when you need it.
Okay.
The difference is this one. On the FX forward, you will set the date when you sign the contract. On the flexible forward, you will fix a window of data starting from one period, ending on another period, on a longer period. For example, for the FX forward, you can choose to sell the euro only on the 30th of September of 2023. And you can change the money only on that date. You have to change it on that date. On the flexible forward, you can ask to have the possibility to change the money on a date between the 1st of July and the end of November. And then you can choose the date and the amount that you are going to change on a single date. You still have the obligation to change all the amount prior to the last date, but you can change when. You can choose when, sorry.
Very good.
Then the last one is the Forex option, the FX option. This kind of operation give you the right and not the obligation to make a currency deal. And to buy this right, you have to pay a premium. The premium, you have to pay the premium at the moment that you sign the contract. So for example, if you want the right to sell euro and buy Indian rupees for the end of November, you have to pay a premium now to the bank. And the premium depends of the length of the option. So the length test is the option, higher is the cost of the option. It depends of the rate, the strike rate, that is the rate where you have the right to change your money. The better is the rate, the higher is the cost.
Yeah, I can figure out.
And also the FX option grants complete hedge. So if the FX worsens, you have the option to sell the euro, so you have the rate granted. But in this case, you have the advantage that you are allowed to take improvement to take gain for any improvement of the FX rate. Because if the rate is better than the strike that you have fixed with buying the option, you will not exercise the option and you will go on the market, so you can sell the euro or US dollar at a better rate. So having more of local currency.
Excellent.
These are the three best ways to cover your risk. As concerning the inflation, if I can make just a little suggestion, you can consider inflation when you are making plans to show to your donor. For example, if now you have an expenditure of 100,000 of local currencies, and you think to make the expenditure in 1 year from now, and now the provision of the inflation is 20%, you should ask to your donor to give you 120,000 of local currencies. Because if the inflation is 20%, whichever goods cost 100 now will cost 120 in a year's time.
Kyle, thank you. But if you know some donor that will accept this kind of things, let us know. It's not easy. It's
Okay.
not easy, but
Yeah.
it is
You
reasonable.
can try.
Yeah, but it's a justification. So if we have elements that we have inflection, then we can try. Yes.
Yes.
So thank you, Carlo. We're running
My
a little
pleasure.
bit out of time, so I will leave the floor if you want to ask some questions. A lot of technical things we have shared. These are inputs, are not answers to all the questions. But if you have questions or you want to share something, please feel free.
Calogero.
Yes.
Yes, we have a question by Teresa in the chat box. If you want, I can read. Do you need
Yes.
to have
Yes.
banking facilities in order to age forward?
Okay, I can answer to this directly. For our bank, you need to have accounts with our banks in both currencies. So, for example, if you have the donor that pays you euro and you are going to receive Indian rupees, you should have on our bank euro and INR account. And then you should have not a line, but a plafond that will give us a maximum amount that you are going to do on the FX forward. On the expiry date, we will debit your euro account, credit your INR account, for example, and then you can make a payment starting from your INR account with us.
Yeah, but I would say that might change from bank to bank, so it is better always to check with the bank you are referring to.
Yes, this is for Banca Popolare di Sondrio. I don't know what the other banks are going to do in this case.
Yeah. Okay. Any other question? Or confusion or frustration? This is not very easy. Veronica, I know you are having headache with exchange rate. I know you're smiling, but sometimes you're crying.
I know, but Carlo, I think your explanation on some of the earlier slides on the gain and the loss, where you have shown all the different budget lines that will be adjusted, I think that's very helpful, because that's what we do at Asia Pacific with some of the units, not all. But moving forward, this is something we are trying our best that we will start, applying. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Vero. So maybe we can, these are some of the Google form that we have shared. Could you briefly describe the main problems that you have faced in relation with exchange rate management, and how did you manage to resolve it? So these are some, not all of them. I will share then later by email all the inputs. But I see here that the fluctuation is one of the main problems that we are facing. Receiving less of what we have planned is another important element of reflection, and not making it to cover the cost and the budget lines, and contributing with own resources. This is another area of reflection that we need to focus on. I see that many of you already have found wonderful solutions. Another area of critical area is where the government is looking at your accounts deeply and maybe prescribing or imposing certain practices that may really make your life not very easy with regard to exchange rate. But I will share with you all this, and maybe we can reflect. And we run out of time. We got 1 hour. It has been very quick gone, 1 hour. And I don't know, let's let's be open for other inputs now, if you want to stay a little bit longer. Teresa.
Carlo, I just want to share that I've experienced some places actually holding on to a US dollar grant that comes in, hoping that the exchange rate will change. It is not a good practice because it opens us up to the risk that it may actually move against us. So a good practice is when the money comes in to change it straight away into the local currency so that we actually know what the rate is.
Yeah, that could be good. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. And then you know what you have received and you know what you have to spend, and you don't have to stay in the fear of receiving less or more. Yeah. Any other inputs that you want to share? And also in Bolivia now the situation is getting a little bit worse. Let's see if in the chat box we have other. Okay, thank you, Carlo.
My pleasure.
En Bolivia es esta consulta de mencionar que no pueden. In Bolivia it's not possible, as Carlo was saying. Okay.
Yeah,
This must be
we do not
evaluated.
have any banks that are quoting forward on Bolivian pesos. I don't know if on the local market maybe is possible or not.
Yeah, there might be possible also with some international banks. I don't know, we have to check, but sometimes we use the Western Union International Bank. It might be explored as they are located in different parts of the world. If they do, I don't know, we have to check, but okay. This is the time for closing and final greetings. Thank you all. Really, I understand that this topic is not easy, and 1 hour is not enough to clarify all our doubts and our frustration. But please remember, if there is a specific situation such as the one in Bolivia or another challenge that you are facing, just write an email to helpdesk.finance.gsf.it, and we will try and see together how we can face it and support you for avoiding losses or making sure that we can run the mission without losing, but having our heart with the mission really. And finally, do not forget to register. The next Friday is June 9th, and we're going to talk about accounting, reporting, and grants compliance. We are all working with grants, donations. So what is the critical type of relation that we have established with the donor and how to comply with it? How do we report and how we do account for the grants that we are running or the donation that we are receiving? Stop sharing. I thank you very much all for your time and your and hope to see you next Friday. So ciao to everybody. Take care of yourself. Ciao. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you, Carlo.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Hasta luego. Ciao.